An e-bike battery with a typical capacity of 1,000 watt-hours contains approximately 3.6 million joules of total stored chemical energy, which can be entirely converted to heat under certain circumstances, fires or short circuits, for instance. That is equivalent to almost 2 pounds of TNT. Yes, dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite, am I right? Just take a look at these things going up everywhere. It's really, really worrying. But you know what else is worrying is internet security. Check this out. Times were simpler when we didn't have to worry about internet threats and snoops.
Yeah, so I clicked on a link in my email and now all my accounts have been hacked. Ho-hum, just another day on the internet.
The internet is awesome, but it's also fraught with dangers. New exploits are coming out by the minute and it's really hard to keep up. The absolute best thing you can do for peace of mind is use a VPN, and I recommend Surfshark VPN. A VPN creates a secure tunnel between you and their servers, making sure no one snoops in on what you're doing, not even your ISP. Surfshark has a load of new useful features, like the web content blocker that allows you to control what type of content little Jimmy gets to see on his iPad or other devices. Seriously, Jimmy, stop trying to look up all those weird topics. It's unhealthy. There's also an email scam checker, absolutely key to internet safety these days. It'll check any email in your inbox to see if it's a scam or a phishing attempt. Surfshark also allows you to take advantage of deals that are only available in certain areas, like booking a cheaper flight or renting a car, as well as being able to watch content that is blocked in your location. Surfshark has also reached coverage of 100 countries and is the only VPN to do so. VPNs make sense, and with Surfshark's strict no-logs policy, you can get the peace of mind that Surfshark isn't keeping your data. Or Jimmy's, for that matter. Go to surfshark.com/SerpentZA and use the code SerpentZA for 4 extra months. Hey babe, I just got us 4 months extra of Surfshark. That's surfshark.com/SerpentZA and use the code SerpentZA at checkout to get 4 extra months off of Surfshark. And now, back to the show. I talk about Chinese EVs a lot. I post a lot on X about exploding Chinese EVs, fancy Chinese EVs catching on fire, the defects that cause them to crash, the fact that the airbags don't go off in collisions, things like that. Plenty of evidence. And the reason I do this is not out of spite. It's not that I hate Chinese EVs or EVs in general. It's because I know Chinese EVs. I lived in China for 14 years. I bought a Chinese car brand new. I can attest to the quality of these things. I saw the e-bike, especially the e-bike industry, blossom from almost nothing. In fact, I used to spend a lot of time modifying electric bikes. The city that I lived in banned petrol-powered bikes, and so the only way to enjoy, motorcycles or bikes in general was to ride around on an e-bike. So I used to figure out fun ways to modify these things to go faster, like adding electric turbos, which is basically the equivalent of dumping extra voltage into the motor to make it go faster for brief periods of time. Anyway, I learned pretty quickly that electrical fires are a big issue when it comes to e-bikes, especially slightly modified or more powerful e-bikes. And this was back when lead-acid batteries were still a thing. But of course, lithium-ion became the new battery of choice for many reasons. It's got greater energy density, they charge quicker, they last longer, all of that. It's a much better choice, of course, much better technology. But with the introduction of lithium-ion batteries, the danger of the fires increased significantly. And this is because of the absolute insane amount of energy that is stored inside of a lithium-ion battery. It's incredibly dangerous. It's like sitting on a ticking time bomb. In fact, very recently, a lithium-ion power bank caught fire in a plane from China to Korea, flying from China to Korea. And of course, this is not what you want to happen mid-air. something that small can cause such a major fire and potentially down an entire aircraft, this is not okay. There have been cases where someone's dog chewing a power bank in their house has set their entire house on fire. You know, these things are packed with power. And of course, it's very convenient, excellent way to store energy and to charge your devices and whatnot, but it's not good when they go wrong. Now, the reason I'm making this video is very recently, the US Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, that's what it's called, has released a bulletin, a warning for people to stop using a specific brand of e-bikes batteries and to dispose of them. There are a couple of different models from a brand called Rad Power e-bikes, and they've been linked to, I believe, 31 different fires and something like $740,000 odd worth of damage. Because don't forget, when an e-bike battery explodes or catches fire, it burns everything in the vicinity. It'll burn your house down. It'll burn your car to a cinder if it's parked near your car. It'll burn down your garage. It'll burn anything. It'll burn down a forest. It doesn't matter. When these things go off, it's spectacular. And the energy that gets ejected out, it's like a flamethrower. So anything in the vicinity is going to get burnt to a crisp. And you better hope you don't have anything alive nearby.
And boom goes the dynamite.
So, look, this is one brand, but this is a big problem that some people seem to be wanting to bury, and I get it. Everybody loves EVs. Everybody loves the idea of saving the planet and using renewable energy, which, by the way, if you look into it, it's actually worse for the environment than using an old gas car from like 30 years ago. Thing is, it's devastating. There are no nationwide statistics in America as far as the amount of damage and e-bike fires are concerned, except coming out of New York City. So just in this one city. In 2023 alone, there were 216 fires, which resulted in 6 deaths. In 2024, that number went up to 277 e-bike fires, and strangely enough, another 6 deaths linked to them. I tried to do some calculations to work out an average based on population density and e-bike density around the nation, and I'm getting a low estimate of about 1,500 to 3,000 e-bike related fires a year. Of course, those are just my calculations. I could be way off, but at least we know for sure in one city we're getting 200 plus a year and deaths related to e-bike fires. The only other country I could find that posts statistics with regards to e-bike fires is the UK. And in 2024, they also experienced 200 plus e-bike related fires. Now, in the UK, it's a voluntary reporting system, so we're not going to get all of the details, just the people that actually told the fire department, hey, my e-bike caught fire and destroyed stuff.
Jesus, man, that's electric bike.
Electric bike?
Yeah, electric bike. Yeah, electric bike is bleeding.
Yes.
Scheiße.
So it's a lot. And the study goes in the UK anyway that 66% of them happen indoors and in your residential place, so the place you're living. And this makes total sense. When you come home from school or from work, if you're using an e-bike, or just, a ride down to the park or whatever, you tend to park your bike inside for security reasons. You don't want someone to steal your fancy e-bike, do you? And of course, you charge them inside as well. A lot of the majority of the fires actually start when the e-bikes are busy being charged. But don't let that fool you. It's only a slight percentage more. They also catch fire when they're not being charged. They spontaneously catch fire. And I mean, this happens for a number of reasons. But usually if you go out and you're doing wheelies and you're jumping and doing whatever you want and you hit the ground and shake that battery a bit too much, you might cause a little bit of damage. And then that little bit of damage sits there and simmers, and slowly it expands until, you get thermal runaway, which is the thing you don't want to happen with an e-bike battery. That's when things go crazy and all of that energy gets converted to heat almost immediately all at once, and it's a spectacular blaze, and it's impossible to extinguish. Firefighters have had to try to figure out new techniques to stop these battery fires. They take whole cars and put them in a big sort of container full of liquid to try and stop it. It's one of those horrible situations that if an e-bike starts to smoke, if an e-bike starts to catch fire, all you can do is get the hell out of there as soon as you can. because I've seen, and I will not share on my channel, some of the most horrific scenes in China where people bring their e-bikes into elevators, for instance, with people in it, and they catch fire. Nobody survives, or in an apartment or in a crowded area, these things go off. It's insane. I would like you to think about what lithium-ion battery devices you have in your home. Of course, I don't want to be scaremongering here, but there is absolutely some sort of a cover-up going on. And as far as downplaying the news of these e-bike fires and EV fires in general, and I think it has to do with politics, I think it has to do with the whole idea of it's good to go green and to use batteries instead of gasoline and things. People don't want to listen to the bad news. They do not want to acknowledge that these things are a massive, massive hazard. So here's the thing. Think about what you got. Of course, if you've got something that's a well-known brand, if it's, got, I don't know, LG batteries or Samsung batteries made in Japan or made in Korea, you're probably okay. Or if you've got a well-known brand of e-bike or so on, you're probably okay. But it's these cheap Chinese ones that come in sort of in the gray market. The kind of ones that you see the kids wheeling down the street on, these little souped-up e-bikes. A lot of them aren't from good brands. They're from like Xiaohong Long or something, unknown brands which are being bought in and sold kind of through unofficial channels, and you can buy them off of online websites and so on. These are the ones you really have to look out for, because the batteries that are in there, you can never guarantee that there's been proper quality control, and you cannot guarantee the quality of those batteries. I know how China works, and when shortcuts can be taken, they are taken, and they don't care about the reputation of the business because it's all about making money now. If people get injured and these bikes cause massive amounts of damage, there will be no repercussions for them. All they do is change the name of the company and continue selling on Amazon or continue selling on Temu or whatever it is under a different name, same products. All they do is change the brand. So you're going to end up buying the same dangerous stuff just under another brand. So anything like those hoverboards that were mad popular a couple of years ago that you kind of float around on, kind of Segway-looking things, those scooters, like a Razor-type scooter, but a battery-powered one, all of those things are a massive hazard. They've all got very large lithium-ion batteries in them, and they all take a pounding because, you're out riding them on the streets. It's kind of like if you took your battery bank for your phone and you kept throwing it around and shaking it nonstop and tossing it in the bushes and then go and throw it on the road, and eventually it's going to catch fire. And that's one of the big dangers with these bikes, is just when they're out there being beat on, it's going to just up the chances of something going wrong with the battery. So take your cheap Chinese knockoff things or rubbish sort of electronics that have big lithium-ion batteries in them, and please make sure that they're not sitting in your living room or in your bedroom or anywhere in your house, in your foyer, whatever you call that, like where you walk in the house, in your mudroom, something like that. Take them out of those places. Put them outside in a shed. Put them outside in your garage if you have to, but just bear in mind that if they do go up your car, and whatever's in your garage is probably going to go up too. But don't be fooled into thinking that they're safe just because the news doesn't really focus on these fires, just because the statistics are constantly played down. In fact, in doing some research on the statistics here, I came across a bunch of websites trying to justify that, it's not that bad. They're like, yeah, sure, there's like hundreds of fires and people die from e-bike fires, but you're more likely to be, hit by a car walking over the road, trying to downplay the fact that this is a real, proper hazard, and it really is. Once you get bitten, it's too late. Once your house is done, it's too late. You don't want your house to go up and your pets to get engulfed in flame or something like that, or even worse, family members, because then, it's too late. So, guys, when it comes to Chinese batteries, Chinese e-bikes, please heed the warning from the Consumer Protection, whatever it's called here in the United States. If you have any of those batteries, that specific brand, dispose of them. And if you have any batteries from an unknown brand, I'd dispose of them too. Go get yourself a proper brand. If you enjoy e-bikes that much, spend the money, get something good. And, I understand not everybody can afford it. And if that's the case, if you have your Hongjing Long, Shuang bike, you can go and stick it out in the woods somewhere far away from anyone that you care about. Anyway, guys, I hope I'm not trying to come off too crazy about this, but there has to be a voice out there warning people about these things, because every time there's a news story about it, it gets quashed. People don't care about it. And it genuinely is a massive, massive hazard. And it hasn't changed, when it comes to especially these cheaper unknown brands coming out of China being sold on all these online stores. You're never going to get good quality from them. They don't care about what happens to you. They just want your dineros, Anyway, until next time, stay awesome. And please join us for the China show on Friday. It's so much fun. C-Milk and myself, we break down the propaganda. We go through some funny stuff. It's hilarious. We inject a lot of humor into it. And we show you what's happening on the ground in China every week. So please join us then. And until next time, you know the drill. As always, stay awesome.
哦，这顶上给他拿了好久。哦，操，烧得太满了。哦，一定要戒了，一定要戒了，让你今天这样戒掉。哇，那油要炸起来了。